Hello and welcome. I'm James Ezimoha. You're watching Africa News. Let's see your headlines. Chad's army says Boko Haram militants have killed at least 23 security officers in an attack on a military base. South African and Japanese officials hold talks in Pretoria to strengthen cooperation. And Sudan's army has accused the UAE and Ethiopia of involvement in a drone attack on Khartoum airport. Chad's army says at least 23 security officers have been killed and 26 others injured in an overnight attack on a military base in the Lake Chad region. The army says it repelled the assault and has launched operations to secure the area. The attack was carried out by Boko Haram militants, according to authorities, who have operated across the Lake Chad basin for more than a decade. President Mohamed Idris Deby condemned the assault, describing it as a serious threat to national security. Now, Sudan's armed forces say a drone attack targeting Khartoum airport was carried out with involvement from the United Arab Emirates and Ethiopia. The accusation comes after a series of strikes in recent days, ending months of relative calm in the capital, 3 years into Sudan's civil war. Military officials say the latest attack is part of a broader pattern linking earlier drone launches to Ethiopia's Bahir Dar airport and alleged ties to the UAE.
Data from the drone was analysed, and we asked the manufacturer, and they said what follows. The drone, number S88, owned by the UAE and was used from within Ethiopian territory, Bahir Dar Airport. What Ethiopia and the UAE have done is direct aggression against Sudan and won't be met with silence. Our armed forces are fully prepared to deal with any threat in a way that preserves the dignity, sovereignty, and security of the nation.
Now, South Africa and Japan are looking to deepen ties at a time of rising global uncertainty. Top diplomats from both countries have met in Pretoria for talks focused on cooperation and economic resilience.
South African Foreign Minister Ronald Lamola welcomed his Japanese counterpart Toshimitsu Motegi to Pretoria this week, as the two sides held bilateral talks on multilateral cooperation, supply chains, critical minerals and energy. Lamola said the discussions come at a time of growing strain on global peace and security, with international institutions facing increasing challenges.
We are now in a changing and evolving global environment where peace and security remains a challenge, and the UN Security Council is struggling to resolve international disputes. We are hopeful that our engagements will enhance the work of the United Nations as a key multilateral forum, will also enhance our role as a founding member of the G20. As you are aware, we want to continue to participate in the G20, and Japan's role to strengthen our hand in this participation remains very important.
For Japan, strengthening cooperation with South Africa is seen as key to securing supply chains and expanding partnerships in strategic sectors.
Currently, between Japan and South Africa, cooperation is progressing smoothly in areas such as critical minerals and energy, and we seek to further strengthen cooperation across a wide range of fields, including building resilient supply chains.
Both countries signalled plans to expand collaboration across a broad range of sectors.
Now, over 100 Nigerians in South Africa have requested repatriation following anti-migrant protests as concerns grow over rising tensions and reported violence targeting foreigners.
At least 130 Nigerian citizens in South Africa have requested to be flown home following protests targeting foreign nationals. Officials say the applicants are the first to come forward under a new Nigerian government-assisted repatriation scheme, amid concerns that tensions could escalate.
Those that don't have the resources to get their flight tickets to move back to Nigeria, that means government have to go in. And for government to go in, definitely there must be the provision of funds, either to procure tickets for them, or you get an aircraft that will convey them back to Nigeria.
Demonstrations were held in Pretoria and Johannesburg last week, with protesters calling for stricter action on illegal immigration, arguing that undocumented migrants are placing pressure on jobs, security and public services.
I feel that if there's a sanction probably on the investment that South Africa have in Nigeria, they feel that heavy weight. I feel that would have been more productive, and and it will counter a lot of things, because they'll give back to their government that this Nigerian government, they are not taking it easier, they are fighting for their people. So I just feel that talking is a step, but I feel that sanctions will do much better.
Migrant rights groups, however, say foreign nationals are often blamed for broader economic challenges.
Clearly unacceptable to generalize, stereotype Nigerians in particular, and then other African nationals in general, of being drug barons, of being kidnappers, of being armed robbers, of being ringleaders. This is absolutely unacceptable. It is stereotyping, and we condemn it with the highest form of condemnation.
Nigeria has condemned the violence, including reports that 2 of its citizens were killed after allegedly being assaulted by security officials.
Now, the port city of Qingdao has just cleared the first duty-free shipments under China's expanded zero-tariff access for African exports. A report looks at what this means for trade, employment and supply chains on both sides.
Qingdao Port in eastern China has processed the first African shipment under Beijing's expanded zero-tariff policy, a move Beijing says will open Chinese markets to a wider range of African goods.
After the zero-tariff policy took effect, the tariff rate on our imported South African fluorspar powder can be reduced from 3% to 0 with the preferential certificate of origin. It is estimated that we can enjoy an import tax reduction of nearly 700,000 yuan, about $102,517 throughout the year.
Dozens of products arrived on the inaugural vessel, from South African fluorspar powder to Egyptian frozen strawberries joining growing air cargo flows from Ethiopia and other hubs as exporters rush to meet the new rules.
Products from the continent that will be exported to the Chinese market. Of course, they will create jobs in the continent. It's a win-win situation, and of course, this will be very much beneficial to the rest of the continent.
Qingdao already runs 11 container routes to Africa, and Chinese customs say the zero-tariff expansion covers all 53 African countries, with diplomatic ties extending 2-year preferential access to 20 additional nations and underpinning plans for a long-term China-Africa economic partnership. Officials say the policy aims to boost trade, create jobs in Africa, and drive new export contracts, a test of whether duty-free access will translate into sustained growth on both sides.
Passengers infected with hantavirus have been evacuated by boat from a cruise ship docked at Praia Port in Cape Verde. Health officials say 3 infected passengers are expected to be flown out for treatment. Hantavirus is a rare but serious infection that can cause severe respiratory illness. The ship remains at port as authorities respond to the situation. The cruise operator has not commented on how the passengers may have been infected or whether further cases have been identified. Now, Ethiopian athletes have delivered standout performances at the London Marathon, drawing attention at home after record-breaking results. Take a look.
Ethiopian athletes delivered standout performances at this year's London Marathon in what organisers described as the fastest race on record. Yomif Kajelcha finished second in his marathon debut, breaking the 2-hour mark. In the women's race, Tigist Assefa defended her title and set a new world record, finishing in 2 hours, 15 minutes and 41 seconds.
It really encourages me to focus on marathons. I am now a middle distance runner, but in the future, I will try to change my field to the marathon.
There were attempts, and we believed this moment would arrive. Our athletes ran excellent times, and I'm pleased with what Tigist and Yonif achieved. They've shown that with hard work, anything is possible.
The result is very good, and it shows us that going forward, if we work hard, our athletes can achieve what Sebastian Sawe did. Yomif has already shown us it's possible. He moved up from racing between 3,000 and 10,000 meters, and to run under 2 hours in his first marathon is a great inspiration for our upcoming athletes.
The results are being closely watched as athletes and coaches look ahead to future competitions.
Now to basketball. The Basketball Africa League's Sahara Conference finals are underway in Rabat, Morocco, as teams battle for a place in next month's playoffs in Kigali, Rwanda. Here's more.
Rabat is taking center stage in the battle for the Basketball Africa League playoff by hosting the 2026 Sahara Conference at Sal Moulay Abdallah. 6 teams from across the continent are competing in a round-robin format.
The games are broadcasted over 200 countries around the world. So for us, they're showcasing that African talent, inspiring the next generation of players.
The ball continues to grow its global platform, raising the level of competition and visibility for continental basketball, while giving local players a chance to perform on an international stage.
We've been preparing since the start of the season. That's been our rhythm in the league, playing aggressively and trying to adapt to the level of competition.
For FUS Rabat, the challenge is immediate. Facing experienced sides like Al Ahly and Club Africain, the Moroccan team will rely on home support in a tightly contested group.
The participating teams are all competing for a qualifying spot that would take them to the finals in Rwanda.
Beyond the competition, the tournament also highlights Morocco's growing role as a host of major sporting events.
We have seen a strong organization from Morocco. In recent years, the country has invested heavily in infrastructure, and I think those efforts are now paying off.
That investment is also reflected in the atmosphere inside the arena, where fans are turning out to support teams from across the continent.
The competition is very well organized. The atmosphere is excellent and the games have been truly exciting.
With a place in the playoffs at stake, the Sahara Conference in Rabat is delivering both high-level basketball and a wider showcase of Africa's growing sports scene.
All right, that's all we have today on African News. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to A News.